Hello, amazing people in the world. So, hey, welcome to another conversation. And I want to explore today the pearl of great price. And I want to explain it in also the context of what's being explored and how it's broken down linguistically. Why? Well, you're going to find out. Then I'm also going to give you a new tip to try that includes the pearl of great price, but also adds just a little bit of detail into your scene that actually can make all of the difference. So hang out for that. So let's talk about the pearl of great price. So first and foremost, it's obviously taken from a biblical story. But what I want to do is actually focus less on the story and focus on the phrase itself. So a lot of Hebrew and the Hebrew language is pictorial, meaning when you think of the Hebrew language in the Bible, like especially as Westerners, we think of probably literal words. Now, that's not actually how the Hebrews wrote. That's not how they were. More poetic with their language. And so when we read the translations, we read very literally. They did not write literally. They wrote poetically. They were telling a story with everything and with all the words that they chose. It was very powerful. It was a very powerful technique. And it wasn't uncommon for the ancient world to also share different ideas and to cross-pollinate. So it's very important because when you run into the word pearl, you have to understand that, for example, Hebrew was also informed and influenced by the Persian language. So the reason why that's also important as well is because when we go deeper and deeper and deeper into what the pearl is, it actually gives us a very, very cool picture and a better way to understand what the imagination is. Because the pearl of great price is this. It's not your mind, it's not your brain, right? It's the imagination, okay? It is literally the imagination who is God. And it's the most powerful thing in this world. And you may hear that a lot, but you have to believe that. Now, part of that is also that when we think pearl, we think of the little pearl. Okay. Now, yes, if you look at this word and you look at it from the surface origins, right, you will get the pearl, right? Now, the whole idea, though, is that the deeper that you go into these meanings, you find a very, very powerful understanding, which if you keep going and you go from Hebrew to Persian, right, which would have influenced the Hebrew language and its development, is this idea of boundarylessness, okay, meaning there isn't a boundary. There isn't a limitation. It's a very powerful thing. So when you think of the imagination, you might think of something that's like a faculty that humans use, or like a tool, or something that we just sit and daydream with. This is not something that you daydream with. Yes, can we use the imagination to daydream? Sure. In fact, that's one technique that I encourage people to use, is because then you can actually get better at using the muscle of imagination. And I think that we have to actually think of imagination as more like a muscle, like building a muscle. Okay. Neville uses the metaphor of a violin, right? And so, or even a piano. And so the thing about a piano or a violin is you don't just pick it up and start playing. You have to pick it up and learn how to play. And that takes time, right? And that's okay, because what you want to do is you want to take that time. You want to build into the effort. So the pearl of great price is this boundaryless, which means there's no boundaries, there's no limitations. So when it says that with God, all things are possible, or with the imagination, all things are possible, that's the one time where it is being literal. Okay. So that means there are no boundaries. It can do anything and everything that you want. And you need to believe that, because most of the time what will happen is when people go to manifest, they'll actually create scenes from where they are in their life. Right. And so everything to them, like, for example, if they're not successful, then they're going to define success as whatever it is that they wanted. So if their success was based upon having a successful business, then they're only going to think within the boundaries of that thought. They're only going to think of well, I just want a successful business. Yeah, but what does that mean? So you have to actually go deeper. You have to go deeper. So this is why when Neville says, live in the end, or imagine from the end, he's literally saying, okay, if anything could exist, whether it be that you want to manifest love or acceptance or more confidence or a billion-dollar industry, whatever it is, go to that end. Don't say, I want $1,000 this month. That's thinking small. You want to go big, right? Because again, the imagination has no boundaries. Okay, so that's the pearl of great price. But then part of that is that there's a price. But the price is that you have to buy your new thoughts. But you also have to sell the old thoughts. So if your old thought was, I can't do this, it's impossible, it costs too much, we're in a housing crisis, the market's down, whatever it is, you have to sell those. And when I say sell them, this is probably one of the most extreme ideas within most manifesting communities. Because when Neville's saying selling, and he actually even talks about this, he's saying quite literally, give up all of your trust in any other power outside of you. Whether it be a law that was instituted by the government, a local law by the local police, whatever. And I'm not calling you to do criminal activity. What I'm trying to say is that you can't give your power away to anything, whether it be tea leaves, palm readers, the number 1, the number 11, the number 4, whatever it is. And now, some people ask me, like, is it okay to have those? As long as you don't rely on them, as long as you don't think that you need them, meaning like if you think that you need to go to a palm reader to figure out what's going to happen next in your life, then you've given your power away. Do you think that you need to go to church to feel more spiritual? Then you've given your power away. Do you think that you need to follow the law to become like a law-abiding citizen? Then you've given your power away. Right? Do you think that effort is required to earn money? Then you've given your power away. Whatever it is that you have accepted as true that you have to go through, then you've created false rites of passage. And so what that means is that you have to give those up. Every single one. Every single one. And so that's what he means when he says sell your ideas. You have to sell everything that belongs to the old person that doesn't have what they want to manifest. And then you buy, right? You buy what you want, okay? So what I want you to do, though, is I want you to try this technique, and this is actually from my Reddit article, and this is called mental auction. So I want you to imagine that you're actually at an auction, and you are literally buying, and you are auctioning and purchasing the new thought. Someone imaginary doesn't even have to have a face. You just create them on the stage, and they're saying, okay, who wants to buy, financial stability? And imagine you actually going through the process of auctioning and winning, right? And then doing the opposite. Imagine saying, okay, I want to sell this, right? So now you're the auctioneer. Okay, who wants to buy this? And so you're actually giving away that thought, okay? Nobody has to have a face in the crowd. It doesn't matter. It's more the action, right? And the mental action. But then here is the tip that I was talking about as well when you go into imagination. So one of the things is that when you're visualizing or imagining is that you want to not only think from the state of already having what you want. So if you're an entrepreneur who's starting out and you have zero, you have to go in and imagine that you're the entrepreneur that has the billions of dollars that you desire or a specific amount that you want. Right? So you're not walking into the scene as it's almost like you're begging for it. You're walking in the scene already having it. So you're already acting out as if that you already have it. Well, like what would that scene look like? But on top of that, when you're in that scene, and here's the tip, no matter what it is, your thought processes are always from that state. So meaning when you're in that scene and you're developing the scene and you're like rehearsing the scene, you're doing it over and over, make sure you throw in some thoughts from that state as well. So maybe you already have scripted a scene out and you have this one action, right? Maybe it's somebody giving you like $1,000 or $1 billion or whatever it is. But then in your mind, while you're in your mind, so it's like Inception, you're essentially thinking again, like, wow, he just gave me that money and it was really easy. Or wow, my company really grew fast. By the way, you're doing that within the scene. Right? You're not just doing that in 3D while you're walking around doing whatever you need to do. So you're doing that within the scene. So try that and see how you connect with your scene deeper, emotionally especially. So hope this was helpful. I know this was a little bit longer, but I wanted to jump on. I will also be adding more content to the channel, including more lectures from Neville. And check out our coaching packages, and the business side of what we do. We work with businesses, we work with entrepreneurs, we work with high ticket clients, we work with individuals, mothers, whoever you are, we have something for you. And we use behavioral science, neuroscience, social psychology, and Neville's work all combined to create a very novel and new awesome system that actually helps you all around. So definitely get in touch and ask more about that. But thank you for jumping on, and much love to you all. Be safe in the world. Share this with at least one person a day. Subscribe and put on the notification bell so you can get more. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Much love. Bye.